Good morning. It's Sunday, August 8th. And the other day, President Biden issued an executive order that by the year 2030, 50% of all the cars in this country should be electric. Plug-in electric, battery cell electric, or hybrid plug-in. Now, most of you know that I have a hybrid plug-in, and I love it. But my battery only holds about 30 miles worth of charge, which could be somewhat a problem if you're taking long trips and things like that. But if I'm on gas, if I'm running on gasoline, I'm getting about 45, 50 miles to the gallon because it keeps recharging the battery all by itself. So all in all, I'm in love with electric cars. But many people are upset by electric cars. And especially a lot of people in the oil industry are definitely upset with electric cars. And a lot of what they have been telling other people about the cost of generating electricity and things like that are probably not 100% true. And let me say this. So what if it costs you the same to generate electricity as it costs you to create oil? Let's say. But electricity doesn't have emissions. Will not be emitting these horrible gases that are causing the climate change. Now, could you be fighting against gasoline automobiles if we really, really, truly know, and we do know, that the gasoline emissions are affecting our climate and the earth is heating up? Not so much that it's terrible heating up, but enough to do tremendous damage. Look at the wildfires that we have in the West Coast. Look at the hurricanes that seem to be more prevalent. Look at the flooding in places that never had flooding before. Towns wiped out by a flood or a fire. Is that what we want to face for the rest of our lives? I don't think so. So I am in favor of these electric cars, and I'm in favor of doing anything that will help eradicate the serious climate issues that we have. So I think Joe Biden took a big step. He put his neck on the line. He's probably going to lose, I think, some corporate contributions over this whole thing. But maybe not, because from what I understand, many of the automobile makers are in favor of electric cars. When Joe signed this executive order, there were representatives from General Motors and Ford and Stellantis and members of the United Auto Workers Union. The automakers are supporting this new target, announcing that they have a shared aspiration that 40 or 50% of their cars sold by 2030 will be electric vehicles. And Joe made these announcements on the White House lawn, and there were 4 electric vehicles sitting in the front of the announcement. He said there's no turning back from electric. Electric cars are the cars of the future. And he also said, are we going to be the leaders in producing electric cars, or are we going to be the followers? And he said he wants to make sure that those vehicles that are produced in the United States, and the batteries powering those vehicles should also be made in the U.S. and with union workers. Now, that's a wonderful statement to make because unions have taken a big hit over the years. There's only about 12%, etc. And automakers, we have automakers and probably electricians and things like that, but the unions in this country have fallen by the wayside. In addition to these announcements, the Environmental Protection Agency and the Department of Transportation also announced on Thursday that they are reversing Donald Trump's rollback of fuel emission standards. And they have put forward newly proposed standards for the operating of light-duty vehicles and 2023 model year vehicles. They are making the rules 10% more stringent than they are right now. And then they're going to make it another 5% more stringent by 2026. So Joe is attacking the environment, attacking what looks like the future of the world. And that's a good thing. And they are talking about an automobile standard that is 52 miles to the gallon. Now, I remember when I grew up, 20 miles to the gallon was a major effort because we had automobiles that were going in 8, 10, 12 miles to the gallon. But of course, gas only cost 23 cents a gallon, as I recall, at that particular time. But we didn't make that much money either. You know, I was riding around in a car, paying 23 cents a gallon and probably making $100 a week. So all things are relative, I guess. Yeah, and these 52 miles to the gallon is up from the 43 miles to the gallon that the Trump administration left show with. So that seems to be the current standard, 43 miles to the gallon. But I'm willing to bet you that most of the cars on the road right now are not getting 43 miles to the gallon. And if I'm wrong about that, I apologize, but I doubt it. Environmental Protection Agency says if we hit these rules, these new regulations, these new targets, we will avoid 2.2 billion tons of carbon dioxide emissions through 2050. The rules for heavy-duty trucks are still being formulated, and we'll probably hear about them next week or so. And it's expected that those rules will take effect in 2027. That's according to the EPA. But whenever they take effect, it will be a good thing because we know that we have a lot of trucks on the road. I think all of this is good news. It's about time that we recognize that we needed a paradigm shift. And there are many places that are preparing for this shift. This new housing development down the road from me had in its pricing $35 a month for charging your car. So if they are preparing in new developments to have charging stations, that's a good thing. And speaking of charging stations, don't be surprised if they start springing up all over this country, getting ready for the paradigm shift to electric vehicles, because we will probably need several 100,000 charging stations if we are going to be able to accommodate the 50% vehicle target of electric cars. So I look forward to this change in the environment. I look forward to the quiet road, because when you drive an electric car, you can't hear it coming or going. It's very interesting when the car is running and there's not a sound. So in any event, that's my story for this morning. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.